It Chapter 2 stars James McAvoy, Jessica Chastain, Bill Hader, and is directed by Andrew Muschietti. What's up, guys? 2 years ago, It Chapter 1 came out. It swept the nation by storm. Funny enough, it came out almost exactly 27 years after the miniseries came out, which was perfect timing. You know, of course, they left it wide open. You know, they split the story right down the middle, and now we get It Chapter 2. So we're going to review It Chapter 2. Is it as good as the last one? I actually gave the last one another watch recently. This is like the third time I think I've seen the movie, if you include seeing it in the theater. And I really love this movie, the Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is great for a lot of reasons. I think it really fires on all cylinders in terms of the characters, the children, as well as Pennywise. You know, everything about that movie to me worked very well. I explained all that in my It Revisited review. And also, I did a giveaway in that review. And I said on Twitter that I'm going to announce the winner of the giveaway right here, right now for the Chapter 2 review. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's get it out of the way before the review. And also at the end of the review, I announced on Killer Flicks that I want to make Killer Flicks a part of this. So I told the Killer Flicksters to post something they liked and they didn't like, and I'll read it in the review. So it's going to be a fun review. So first off, I got my phone. I'm going to announce the winner right now. The way this is going to work, if you win, I need you in this review here to respond below that, hey, I'm the winner, whatever. And then send me a DM to my email, which is drumdums@yahoo.com. And also put that you emailed me. So I would say go ahead and email me first and then comment below in the comments saying, hey, I'm the winner. I just emailed you, so that way I'll know to look for you. And then we can work out the mailing arrangements and all that. I'm going to announce 2 people, just in case the first person within, say a week's time doesn't respond below, then I can go to the second person, okay? So if I call you the second time, that doesn't mean you won. That means you are the runner-up and you could win. So the way I'm going to do this, I already have it scrolled to the bottom. I'm not looking. I'm going to scroll up and down and up and down, and I'm going to, hopefully land on a winner. So wherever my thumb goes, not looking, that's going to be the winner. So here we go. Here the winner is now. Okay. Blankenship McKenzie. Favorite scene, the opening Georgie scene was a tone setter. The brutality is everything that I've wanted from the It movie. So Blankenship McKenzie, you have won the giveaway. You've won Roller Skate Skinny, and you've won a copy of Stephen King's It. All right, I'm going to do one more just in case Blankenship McKenzie does not respond in this review right here. Okay, so doing it again. Boom. Okay. Okay. The Chris Manley, 1994. My favorite scene in It Chapter 1 was the final confrontation between the Losers Club and Pennywise, just because they beat the living shit out of him, which that was a really cool scene. Definitely wasn't what I was expecting for that scene, for sure. There you go. There's your 2, your winner and your runner-up if the winner doesn't respond in this one. All right. So congratulations, Blankenship McKenzie, I think, which I think that's a Halloween reference. Pretty sure that's a Halloween reference. Now on to the It Chapter 2 review. First off, quick plot synopsis. Mike from It Chapter 1, 27 years later, he's the one that reaches out to the rest of the It crew because he realizes that Pennywise is back. He notices him at the beginning of this movie. There is this, I guess you could call it really like a gay bashing incident where these 2 gay men are, they're beaten up. Pennywise comes into play in this scenario, and then Mike sees the whole thing. And so Mike reaches out to the Losers Club to try to get them all back together, and they need to perform this ritual to defeat Pennywise once and for all. But if this movie makes a lot of money, you can bet that Andrew Muschietti, who's already mentioned this, has more plans for Pennywise. Now, going back to the 1990 miniseries, the second part of that miniseries, which was the adult portion, is god-awful, and I don't want to say horrible, but it's bad, and I think it's just really dated. And you do have some decent performances in there, and it was nice to see John Ritter in there. I think John Ritter always delivered a great performance. So, really, they had nowhere to go but up with this movie. I like the kids portion of that movie, but as far as the adults, yeah, this movie, automatically, they're a leg up. So I went into this with pretty low expectations. And I must say, I was pleasantly surprised by it, but it did have some issues, I thought. First off, let's get into what I liked about it. And really the big thing is the characters. I really did enjoy James McAvoy, Jessica Chastain, and Bill Hader. All three of them had their moments to shine. Jessica Chastain, I think, was perfectly cast as Bev. You really felt for her throughout this whole thing, and they really explore all these insecurities and all this damage, really, that has been done to Bev through the years. And, you know, they reach back. You're going to see a lot of the young cast in It Chapter 2, actually, which was nice. And I think mostly you see Bev, the young version of Bev. And one thing I really did dig was when Bev is first contacted by Mike and she's leaving, and we see that she's already in this abusive relationship. She's married to this complete asshole. And so it really showcases women that are raised by fathers that are abusive. They tend to end up marrying men that are abusive. And I thought that was handled very well. As a matter of fact, every time she's on screen, I was completely invested in this movie. James McAvoy was really good in this. I mean, the guy can really handle emotion better than most actors working today. He really can. It's like he can turn on the waterworks in a heartbeat. He does such a great job. And so he had quite a few moments in this movie, you know, because if you remember in the last one, Bill was dealing with the death of his brother Georgie. And so he's still dealing with that. You know, he's a writer, and one of the jokes in the movie is that he can't handle endings. And I believe that's something that Stephen King put there purposefully, because it's a hard thing to do for writers to drive the story home in the end. And that somewhat plays a part in the end of the movie, his writing abilities. Now, Bill Hader, I must admit, Bill Hader had some really great moments in this. I mean, he is the comic relief. Richie is the one character that we love from the chapter 1. Well, Bill Hader really just took that mantle and just drove it home. There's a lot of moments in this where he's hilarious. I think I wish there were more of those moments. Bill Hader can handle comedy, but he does have some issues in the drama department. You know, there's a couple moments where he's really got to emote, and you want to see some tears roll out, and you could tell that, you know, he's doing the old trick of just squinting the eyes, but the tears aren't rolling. But, you know, I know I'm already jumping into the cons, but Bill Hader's still really good in this, actually. And I got to mention Isaiah Mustafa, who played Mike. If you remember in my revisited review for chapter 1, Mike was one of the characters that I had an issue with because they didn't really cover him enough. And I wanted more from that character because he was an interesting character. Well, they give you the payoff in this movie, really. I mean, this is a movie that focuses a lot on Mike, actually, because he's the guy that gets the whole group together. He's the guy that comes up with the plan to stop Pennywise. So I actually liked Mike quite a bit in this movie. And I think Isaiah Mustafa did a fantastic job playing the character. Now, I won't go through all of the cast members, and that does play into one of my issues with the movie, and we will get to that. But first, let's talk about Pennywise. If you remember in the miniseries, Pennywise wasn't, or at least I don't remember him being in the second half of the movie as much as the first half with the children. There is plenty of Pennywise in this one, actually. It surprised me, and there's some really great scenes. I gotta mention the homage to The Thing. That scene was undeniable. There's really a Spiderhead scene in the movie, and I did not see that coming whatsoever, and I was like, oh my God, they're paying respect to The Thing. This is badass. And it was a really great scene when you mix Pennywise with the Spiderhead. It was pretty badass, actually. If you remember, they had the cheesy spider in the miniseries, but it was horrible. So they make up for it in this one, although this movie does depend quite a bit on CGI. Sometimes it works, sometimes it kind of gets in the way. Also, Pennywise, there is one scene with this child. I wish there would have been more child interactions with Pennywise because I think he shines the most, much like he did with Georgie. There is one scene where it was scary as hell, actually, and it was one of those scenes that really grabs you by the throat and doesn't let go. Now, jumping into the cons, staying on Pennywise, most of the scenes with Pennywise are with the adults. And most of the scenes, it seems like, without getting into any spoilers, I'll just say I think the end result should have been a lot more deadly than it turned out to be with a lot of these characters. Don't get me wrong, there's some great violence, there's some great blood in this movie. This movie is definitely R-rated. But, you know, just putting on my picking it apart cap, there were moments where Pennywise could have easily taken out his prey. and he chooses to kind of just mess with him. I mean, there are scenes in this that remind me of Nightmare on Elm Street, really, if I'm being honest. I mean, it does have like those nightmare sequences, which is fun. Now, one thing I said I'd get to is how there's like so many characters and I didn't want to cover all of them. That plays a part into why this movie is 3 hours long. And I think when you have a movie, any movie, it could be 90 minutes, it could be 3 hours, but you want that like that rise, that escalation to the climax of the movie. And I felt that this movie kind of repeated itself because you had to have each moment where Pennywise is dealing with the adult characters. And so it kind of felt like the same thing over and over, and we're getting repetitive here. And so because you have to cover every character, you end up with a hella long movie. And I didn't get that like escalation, you know? It was just kind of rinse and repeat. But you still have some awesome sequences, especially the one in the bathroom stall with Jessica Chastain. That is one of my favorite like Pennywise sequences, and there's like a little shining moment in there, which was cool. Also, the character Ben is kind of a con in this movie, played by Jay Ryan. Ben was one of my favorite characters in Chapter 1. Yeah, he comes back, he's all fit, you know, he's all Jerry O'Connell. He looks nice and thin and everything. And I'll say Jerry O'Connell because Jerry O'Connell in Stand By Me, never mind. But Jay Ryan didn't really bring much in the acting department to the table. They're really just focusing on him. Really, there's a kind of a love triangle between him and Bev and Bill. And Bill seemed like he wasn't really that focused on the whole love aspect of it. You know, he was dealing with the stress of Pennywise. So I had a little bit of an issue there because I loved Ben as a character in the first movie. And overall, if I can just sum this up for you in the con department, to me, this felt like the same movie as Chapter 1. It really was. It was just the adult version. And it didn't have the magic that Chapter 1 had. And maybe that's because it was children. And I think it's creepier when you have this alien entity that comes to Earth to kill children. When they kill adults, I don't think it's as impactful, you know, as heartbreaking. So, and I think that's why the first movie works so much better for me. So overall, guys, I'm going to give this one a high humdrum. It's still a good movie. It still has some nice moments in it. You know, I could definitely marry this one up to Chapter 1 in my 4K collection and be completely happy. You know, it's definitely one I'll give another watch down the line. But like I said, it didn't have the impact that the previous movie had. And now we're going to jump over to Killer Flicks. I'm going to pick a couple that you guys, things that you guys liked and disliked. I always like making Killer Flicks a part of these things. Okay, the first one that really stuck out to me is Donnie Morell. He said, I love the cast. I thought they were spot on. I dislike the overuse of CGI, especially with the younger actors were de-aged. That's a good point, and I didn't mention, especially Richie. You could tell that they had to kind of dial Richie back a little bit because his nose is a little bigger. He's aging, you know, he's getting older. So that stuck out to me. I could definitely tell when they were using CGI. And they were using a lot of CGI with Pennywise, actually. And some of it worked, some of it didn't. Next one I'm going to go to is, I hope I said this right, Joseph Hamilton. He says, I love how they turned a gay-coded character like Eddie in the novel and turned it around into a fully fledged character for Richie. It was heartbreaking how their relationship inevitably ended up. Yeah, and that was interesting too because Richie, they didn't really explore him being gay because he was obviously too young in Chapter 1. And so they explored that in this one with, you know, and I thought Bill Hader did a great job playing that, actually. And he also says I wasn't a fan of Penny Spider, which we all know at the end of the movie, that's how they handled the spiders, using Pennywise's head on a spider. It was okay, but I will say, and I didn't even say this in the review, that the last act of Chapter 1, which is similar to this last act, I thought was much more effective. I thought Pennywise was much scarier, and it just, overall, it worked better. Ozan Sarigul, he says, I love the Chinese restaurant scene. I really hated the letter at the end from Stanley. Legitimized suicide is a bad and very irresponsible idea. Yeah, the diner scene was kind of weird, but it did have that funny payoff at the end of it when they're all like fighting. But that is one of the scenes that felt a little off, I guess, in the script department. Vicky Sorello, who is Nightmare Maven, she says she loved Bill Hader, hated all the CGI. She got right to the point, loved that. And hello, Vicky. And speaking of Vic, Victoria Rasmussen, who is a makeup artist, she did herself in Pennywise makeup, and I put that as a Killer Flicks cover photo because it looks so badass. And then one more, I'm going to go, DJ Clement. He said he liked, I loved the real emotion behind this movie, like chapter 1. I feel like the movie transcends its horror genre labeling and becomes something much more than that. I definitely agree with that. This is a horror property that really focuses on characters, and it does it very well. Simply calling it a horror movie is a great disservice to the overall story. Very true. I didn't like the creature effects, especially Naked Granny was more unintentionally funny than scary. Yeah, I didn't find Granny really scary at all. But I did like the end result of that scene where, and we see it in the trailer, where Pennywise is like ripping the makeup off. You know, he's in like human form, so he looks like Bill Skarsgård. Dug that scene, actually. All right, guys. Thank you, Killer Flicks members, for all those great likes and dislikes. A couple of them I actually missed in the review, which was kind of cool. Maybe I'll do this again down the line sometime. Congratulations to the winner of the books, Roller Skate Skinny, and the It book by Stephen King. I have a new Drumdums t-shirt here, the Levi t-shirt. It's got Levi over the Drumdums logo. If you want one of those, go to the Drumdums store and you can get one. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments your thoughts on It Chapter 2. Looking forward to hearing them. Be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day, and on Fridays. We do Free For All Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.